Welcome back to the next video in the series on bug out bags and the plan. When we come back, we're going to discuss something near and dear to everybody's heart, our stomachs. We're going to talk about food, so we'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. The next section of this series on bug out bags and the plan is food. We remember from the past we talked about the rule of threes. You can live 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Now take into consideration that you're going to see some noticeable and some very bad effects of those things the closer you get to those limits. So you want to be able to get food, water, whatever, much sooner than those max limits. Now, if you've made your plan and you've created your bug out scenario so that you have it done, then you will have made certain provisions. When I was in the Army, we used to have a supply and logistics group that would resupply us with food, water, ammo. They would bring up different climate clothes, depending on the seasons. So they would take care of us basically. Sometimes it didn't arrive as soon as we needed it, but we always sooner or later got it. So I believe that the average person, when we have a bug out scenario, are not going to be able to be resupplied. There's not going to be a supply and logistics chain. You're not going to be able to run to Walmart or the grocery store and pick up what you need. So you need to make provisions in your plan and get it set up. We talked about making a plan and then going out and actually executing your plan. Do a bug out scenario for a weekend. If you've got it scheduled for 72 hours, then take a 72-hour bug out. See how it works. See how your equipment performs. See if you have enough stuff, too much stuff, if it's too heavy. You need to set up caches along the way between point A and point B. If you're bugging out to your hunting camp, somewhere along the way you need to be able to say, okay, I've moved this far, maybe we're going to set up camp. You should have some type of cache of food, water, other items there that you will, so that you can replenish your supplies that you have eaten and drunk along the path. You need to be careful and think about not oversupplying those caches so that you can't carry it all from that point and you have to leave some behind. But you want enough. You want enough so you can minimally eat a meal when you get there, resupply everything you've eaten in the past, up to that point, and then have, like, if you come in the night, you're going to eat dinner, be able to resupply your pack for everything that you've consumed up to that point, and then have enough left for breakfast so that you can eat a good meal before you move out the next day. You should have those things scheduled so you know where they are, and then once you get to your bug out location, you should have a cache of additional resources, not only to resupply your pack, your bug out bag in with the things that you have consumed up to that point, but also to be able to carry you over for a while. Once you get there, you need to start looking into the fact that you need to become self-sustaining, whether it be planting gardens, finding, scavenging edible plants, setting up traps, hunting, whatever it may be, fishing. You need to be able to plan all this stuff in advance, get it set up so that you have a plan once you get there. You don't want to be trying to figure out what you're going to do once you get somewhere and you don't know what you're doing. So it's going to be very difficult in that situation. It will only add stress and cause problems in the long run. If you want to make the survival situation as survival, to your survival advantage, be more comfortable in the event, just having the plan will help out greatly. It's still going to be difficult, obviously, because it's a survival situation. Even though you might bug out for 72 hours as a practice, just to run your plan to see how it works, you're also, when you have that emergency situation, you're going to be under more stress because of the situation. So you want to make sure that you have all that done. Now, We talked about setting up our bug out bags with the things we already had, put it together, and then we're going to fill in the gaps. Well, obviously I don't have a lot of that type of food items around my house. I mean, I have some canned goods and stuff. I'm not really wanting to put a bunch of canned goods in my rucksack and carry it miles, because it's just going to be way too heavy. So I need to go out and I need to purchase some stuff, you know, some protein bars, MREs, Mountain House freeze-dried meals, and backpack rations or whatever. So that's going to be on the list. I used to have some old MREs, but I think my son ate them because I can't find them anywhere. But the fact is you need some type of food supplies, and you need to be able to carry that much of food for the duration of your move. You should have, you know, if you can't carry it, if you, say you've got to move 50 miles by foot, you know, are you going to be able to walk 50 miles in one day, or are you going to have to camp out overnight, you know, or is it going to take multiple nights, depending on how long it is. That's why it's important to test all that stuff up front. Once you figure out you can set up caches, you will only need to carry 72 hours worth of food in your bag and water, but you can resupply at this point, and at that point you can, you know, maybe it's just 3 meals you need to replace, or a canteen of, you know, a couple canteens of water. Have that ready, or an available water source where you can purify and refill your canteens, your bladders, or whatever. You need to have that plan, because you can't just pack up a bag and expect to go out, because you don't know what you're going to be up against. So you need to try to run that plan, see how it works, and then you can adjust, because you can always call a buddy on the cell phone and say, hey, can you bring me some more water in that situation, and then you can start moving around the area to find a place where you can resupply your water. That way, you know, you're not going to get into an emergency situation while you're practicing. You know, so you have that possibility in a non-emergency situation as you're practicing your plan. So think about how you're going to be moving, how much food and water you're going to consume along that path to those points. If it's far enough that you're going to be able to, you know, make shelter several times, you need caches set up where you can refill everything up and be able to eat and move on from there without affecting what your stash is in your rucksack. Once you move to the next point, you will have eaten and drunk food. You'll need to be able to resupply to move on to the next one. And as you move from point to point till you get to your ultimate location, once you get to the ultimate location, you need to have some food, water source available there, so that you can resupply and be sustained for some time while you set up things like traps and do fishing and hunting and whatever you're going to do to survive from there. Because again, I believe that if you're going to have to bug out, if it's that serious that you need to get out of town and get out somewhere, I think it's going to last a lot longer than 72 hours. I don't think in 72 hours it's going to be over and you can just hop on a taxi and come back to the house and start eating. So no matter what your situation you're planning on going, whether it's earthquakes or zombies or whatever, the basis of the plan is the same. You need to determine up front first. That way it's not such an emergency as you move through to your points, because you've already pre-planned it. So we'll see you in the next video. Really appreciate you coming. Make sure you like and subscribe. Feel free to comment on the video, and we will see you in the next video. Have a great day.